Hey there, this is Kat, and we are live on my Stand Out and Grow podcast. And I appreciate you joining me. I have a very special guest today, which probably would be a great way to start thinking about 2020. Is it four? Yes, 2024. So, Nicco is my guest today, and he is the managing partner of Nee-mee-in, and I may not be saying that correctly, but he'll correct it, Pride. And so basically, Nicco runs a firm, New Me. At least that's what he has it in my interpretation, Pride. And basically, what they work on is strategy, finance, operations, so that a business can get the best or maximum value for your business valuation. I met Nicco on LinkedIn, and we talked a little bit, and I thought that what they're doing is very unique. And I thought, wow, what a great opportunity for a podcast guest. So that's how I came about with Nicco. So before I bring Nicco on, make sure that if you're tuning in, please drop a comment. Let me know where you're tuning in from. As you can see, I'm freezing. I'm in Wisconsin, and it's 15 degrees is the high here today. So I'm cold, and I'm trying to stay warm. Nicco is not, though. So you can ask him where he's tuning in from. So without further ado, let me bring out Nicco. Hey, Nicco, how are you? I need it.
Hey, doing well. Thanks, Kat. Yeah, I'm in Tenerife in the Canary Islands right now. We'll get into that a little bit more, but I travel all over the world and
Okay.
run my business remotely.
That's awesome. So, Nicco, how do you say the business name?
Yeah, slight correction on that. So it's Nemean,
Oh,
Nemean Pride,
nice. Okay.
and that's the name of the lion in Greek mythology, the Nemean lion.
Okay.
Um, that was Hercules had to defeat that lion as his first labor. So
Nice. I like it. And I like the metaphor and the parlay into working with businesses and that whole thing. That is awesome. Okay. So just give my audience a little background about what it is that you and your team does.
yeah, absolutely. And you talked a little bit about it a second ago. So we have a team of consultants, strategy, finance, and operations experts. And we work with business owners who want to maximize their valuations and fine tune their businesses. And the whole reason that they want to do that is to find freedom. And that's kind of something that I think we'll talk about a lot here. But, when we talk with our clients, we always start with freedom. What does freedom look like for you? And then let's go about setting your business up in a way that you can achieve that freedom lifestyle that you're looking for.
Okay, so before we go into all of that, is there a niche that you guys, really gravitate toward? Because there's all kinds of businesses, manufacturing, healthcare, education, home improvement. We could go on and on and on. Is there a niche that you guys are gravitating toward?
Yeah, we do have a niche, although it's not an industry niche necessarily. So we work best with businesses that have between 2 and 15 million in annual revenue,
Okay.
and they don't yet have a CFO, because if they're of that size, that means, wow, they've been able to be very successful, right? The founder and the rest of the team is really cranking out widgets, whatever they make. But without a CFO, you can pretty much be sure that they're not necessarily measuring everything they should be measuring.
Yep.
They don't truly understand their financials, and then usually that manifests in, the owner's really busy in the weeds all the time, or cash is really tight, it's hard to make payroll, or we had these growth goals but now revenue is plateauing. So those are all symptoms, but
Yep.
again, that niche that we're looking for, 2 to 15 million in revenue, and they don't yet have a CFO.
Okay. Okay. So that's great. And I'm so glad you laid that out. And the thing I think I can relate to when you talk about the CEO who is not well connected is that when I work with companies as a business broker, and I'll use a great example. I have an example of a client I met with, and he told me very candidly, He's had his business for, I want to say, 30 years. And he told me very candidly, Kat, I don't do the numbers. I don't understand the numbers. All I know is I have money in the bank. I rely on my accountant to do that. Now, tell me what your thoughts are. I can tell you what my thoughts are when someone tells me that, but Nicco, you tell me your thoughts on that, because if someone's tuning in and that's their disposition, I think they need to be a little more involved or have a little more knowledge, because in order to understand your business and if you ever want to exit, you've got to know a little bit about the numbers, not everything, right?
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. And, I think there are a lot of people that it may even go back to grade school or something when, math wasn't their strongest subject. There's a lot of people that kind of just commit to, hey, I'm not a numbers person. And they try
Right.
to identify that way and live the rest of their life that way. Um, you know, I would say the way around that, if you are one of those people, would be, if you can bring somebody in that can really help you visualize the numbers, meaning with dashboards, charts, graphs,
Yep.
things like that, and really slice and dice the numbers and then depict them in a visual way. A lot of times, these I'm not a numbers person, people. A lot of times they are picture people.
Yeah.
So if you bring in the right person who can help to visualize, that sort of solves the problem and helps those owners get their toes wet and their feet wet, and then eventually they are numbers people.
Yes. So, do you have a good example like the one I just shared with you, of a business who came to you and kind of didn't have, the vision or the knowledge of the company, where you guys, even the slightest, you had a little slight movement? Do you know what I mean? Working with them. Because, my theory is that if someone is in a position where they're not really hands on in their numbers and what's going on in the environment of the workplace, that even one slight change makes a big difference, a huge difference, you know?
Yeah.
Any examples there or thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do end up working with a lot of home services, construction trade
Mhm.
type businesses. Um, and so we have so this one client I have in mind. Um, they came to us and really had no CFO, no internal finance, capability whatsoever. Did not understand their numbers at all, and we're finding it really hard to meet payroll.
Yep.
And so one of the first analyses that we do with every client, we call it a product profitability analysis. And
Mhm.
so we look at every product or service that they're selling, and we go in really granularly into each one, and we figure out, based on the numbers, which product makes what level of profit. And we sort of chart all that out, and we could quickly see with this client, they had 6 different products. It was a fence installation company. Okay.
Yep.
They had six different fence materials, fence types. And when we chart them all out, we found out that 2 of them had really, really strong profit margins. And then the rest of them were sort of, dwindled down. And then there was one that was just not even profitable at all.
Gotcha.
Um, and so when you see those numbers, you can really quickly say to yourself, okay, the one that's not profitable at all, we need to either stop selling this completely, or let's increase the pricing so that it is profitable. Let's go to market with that increased pricing. If people keep buying at the increased price, great, we've solved our problem. If they stop buying, then we just can't substantiate that product anymore and we have to drop it as a product.
Got you. Yeah, that is a great example. I like that one. I was thinking about another example in my head, that when I was, and I lost it, as because I was so tuned into what you were talking about. So, oh my God, it'll come to me. I know it will, because
Yep.
it was a very profound moment.
I'm sure. I'm sure it was.
I already know. I already know. It came back already. Okay, yay, yay. Uh, so when I talk to most business owners, I'm talking to them at the end. Like, they've made a decision. They said, "I want to sell, Cat. How can you help me?" Blah blah blah. When should someone start preparing, Nico? When should they? Is it 3 years before they sell? 5 years? 2 years? When should they start preparing?
Yeah. So I think that if they really want to give themselves a shot at maximizing their valuation,
Mm-hmm.
there is, for some businesses that have a lot of work to do, there's
Yep.
often 12 to 24 months
Got it.
worth of levers that you need to pull in
Yep.
your business to get the valuation where you want it. And then I think you would say, as a business broker, there's probably 6 to 12 months that you can expect your business to be sitting on the marketplace before it
Oh yeah.
actually sells,
Oh
right?
yeah. Yep.
So so I think we're probably saying 3 years before you want to totally sell that thing, you need to be, thinking about increasing the valuation to prep for sale.
Yeah, I agree with you because I think that the more that you can plan for a smart exit, a good exit, the more that you can maximize that value. I mean, I can't say it wholeheartedly. Like 1 year makes a big difference, right? It makes a huge difference. And if someone has a rock solid year and they can show that growth, that is amazing. And people do listen to that and speak to that. So I totally agree. I think at the end of the day, even if you're planning on selling, like let's say next year, I would say if you feel like you're not maxed out or at the peak of your business, get someone involved, have them do an analysis and see if you can grow that more if you want more in your business valuation. Because again, it's a byproduct of what you're putting out there and your revenue mix, you know.
Yeah. And I would, Kat, I would even add to that.
Yep.
There's a lot of our clients that we work with, they
Hmm.
do want to sell their businesses in the near future, which is why they're looking to maximize their valuation. But that's probably only 50% of our clients. The other
Yep.
half, these are business owners that they don't want to sell anytime soon. But once we kind of talk to them about the benefits of increasing your valuation,
Yep.
like you don't have to sell, you can raise money.
Yep.
Sell a minority stake, bring on a new, COO and have that person buy into the business. There's all these things that you can do where you don't have to actually like give up your company.
Yep.
But if you have a really strong valuation before you do it, you're not diluting your equity as
Yeah.
much when you look to sell a minority stake or something like that.
And I'm glad you said that because we do get a lot of inquiries of people that are looking for investors or partners. And that's not our forte. That's not our strength. We're about selling the business. But I totally agree because if you're not attractive to an investor or partner, like what's the point, right? Why would you put all that time and energy into it when you want to make sure that you're really tight and buttoned up so that's when you do approach someone, they actually do want to talk to you, right?
Right, exactly.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about then why you guys focus on freedom and what is that, as you guys have stated, what does that even mean?
Sure, sure. So, I mean, I think when uh, people like myself, consultants, when we talk to business owners, a lot of times, we're talking about all the business jargon and everything, increase your profits, increase your revenue, that sort of thing. But that's usually not like the entrepreneur's actual
Right.
goal. That's just a tool. And so we really try to focus on this idea of freedom, which is something that, in my opinion, and as an entrepreneur, that is like the thing I care most about in life,
Mm.
basically. And I think for everybody who's made the decision to be an entrepreneur, they've also made the decision that, hey, freedom is the most important thing to me. I don't want anybody to tell me what to do
Yep.
or when to work or who I have to work with, or what I have to work on. I want to make all those decisions for myself. And that's what makes them an entrepreneur. And so we really try to speak to that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm glad that you bring that point because you're exactly right. As I look at a business different and I say the different words than a business owner does because a business owner is really their perception and what they want is totally different than what my goals are, right? And it's just aligning those two together to achieve the similar to the together goal. You know, and in my situation, and because I do have two different types of businesses, and I think I mentioned that to you, Nico, the marketing company and or the business broker, I always feel like I have two avenues of clients that I work with. I work with one client who wants to grow their business, right? They want to grow their business and they use marketing and we help them strategize with marketing. And then I have the second client who is trying to create an exit plan and sell their business so that they keep those jobs in the community. Because I'm more of an advocate of keeping those jobs in the community. Grow your business, have a strong business, have a legacy. But I'm so prolific about keeping those jobs because I really do care, and I know the business owners do as well. To keep those jobs in the community. So great point. I love that. Okay, so then as we keep moving forward, you guys have a program, you have a process. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the services, what some of the things that you're doing so people can put themselves in those mindsets?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to, and I don't know how much time we have. Could we maybe talk a little bit before that about kind of like,
Absolutely.
okay, okay,
We
before I
got
get into
plenty of
it,
time, Nicco.
I know you're lobbing it up, and it's my job to spike it down, but yeah,
I
I
love that. That's
I
volleyball term.
that's right, that's right. Um, no, I wanted to talk a little bit first about like different versions of freedom because
Okay.
we talked about how entrepreneurs obviously have made the decision that freedom is really important in their life. What we find when we talk to a lot of entrepreneurs is even though they have this job where all of a sudden they have these unique freedom opportunities, they can work from anywhere they want with whoever they want, right? They have all those opportunities, but they haven't yet like designed their lifestyle in a way to harness all of those opportunities. I mean, you have all this freedom in front of you. Now you can do some lifestyle design
Mhm.
around what you want your life to be. And so, I mean, take myself, for example, I run my business. I said this at the beginning remotely. Every year I'm somewhere else in the world. I spent this year in Europe traveling around different areas. Next year I'll be in the Caribbean. All my clients are in the US. And so whenever I travel, my time zones are a little weird, but this is the freedom that was just really important to me. I wanted to design a lifestyle where I could travel, see the world, go on great hikes, swim in different bodies of water, just do things like that. And that's not everybody's idea of freedom.
Right. Right.
Um, but when we sit down with our clients, we try to start the engagement understanding what their freedom looks like. And sometimes it's, hey, I would love to only work 3 days a week and spend the other four with my kids because I've got three young kids. Or I actually love my work a lot and I just want to work all the time. And I love being known as the authority in my field. But honestly, I do have to put out a lot of fires that are kind of annoying. And if I could get those off my plate, that would make my life even better. So there's any number of different paths. Maybe you want to learn a new skill, get in really good shape. You want to sit on nonprofit boards on the side, whatever that lifestyle is that you want to design. I think it makes sense to start there.
Yep.
And then once you know what that is, then we can start setting up the business, prepping the business to enable that lifestyle for you. And then that's where we come in.
Yeah. And I'm glad you did clarify that a little more because, I mean, I guess the common thing that I see in the exit community or, when people are thinking about, valuations and exiting is the more that the business is self sustaining, meaning without the CEO, and especially if it's semi absent is a very common word in the business broker world. And people love that because today, what I see is a lot of people, rather than investing in real estate, they're investing in businesses and using and having portfolios of businesses, which I can appreciate, but in order to do that, you have to have enough businesses that are self-sustaining, like they can run on their own. They don't need someone to micromanage it, right? You know,
Yeah,
so makes
exactly.
perfect sense. Totally perfect sense. You know, and every business should see their model somewhat either absent or semi-absent. They have to, they should. And if you are, even if you are a control fanatic, big picture, right? Big picture and think about how you can grow it and how you can strategize and make it better as opposed to just being in there to micromanage. or
Yeah.
overmanage, I should say.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so when we work with businesses to help them prep their business, um, business owners to help them prep their business for the freedom lifestyle that the business owner wants,
Yep.
there are really like 5 things that we focus on in our engagements. And you just named one of them.
Yay.
Yeah. So one of them is, the owner must not be tied up in the day to day. I mean, you're
Yep.
not going to be able to do your, freedom lifestyle if you're tied up in the day to day putting out fires. So that one's obvious.
Yep.
Um, the second one is you have to have consistent cash flow and
Hmm.
strong enough profit margins that you are not stressed out about making payroll.
Yep.
Um,
And
and
it's
there's two,
doable, right? It's
yeah,
doable. I don't think people understand. It's doable. Okay.
it
Keep
is.
on.
It is definitely doable. Um, the second one is, or the third one is you have to not be overly reliant on any single vendor, customer, or employee.
Yep.
Um, if you are, you're wasting your time being an entrepreneur when in reality you do have a boss. It's that customer that's responsible for all of your revenue, or that employee that does all the work in your office,
Yep.
right? So you can't be reliant on any single vendor, customer, employee. Number 4, you have to have the fundamentals of your business set up in a way that it grows, runs, sustains itself.
Yep.
And so this would be like your products can't be overly customized for every single customer.
Yep.
And your team has to follow a repeatable process. And your customer net promoter score has to be very healthy so that you know that you are going to get referrals to additional
Right.
customers.
Right.
And then the last one, the fifth one we haven't named yet, is you have to have your key metrics readily available and visible so that you can see at any point in time how your business is doing, and you can tweak things and pivot, and that sort of thing.
Okay. So I'm gonna parlay to your number 3. I think it
Okay.
was number 3, your customer base. I think that was number 3. So I'm going to parlay to that because I get this all the time with buyers. Okay. And I think it helps from a business owner, whether they're exiting or not, whatever the case may be, right? Whether they're growing or exiting, that to have all your eggs in one basket is a bad thing. And I'll give you a great example. We have a very profitable business up for sale. And unfortunately, this year she has 3 top accounts, right? 3. She lost one of them. So the 3 top accounts accounted for 25% of her revenue. Okay. Not too bad, but if 25% is a heavy amount of money, right, for the business, then that one would have been the part of the 25%. And for her, it was a big, chunk. And so made her very nervous in the fact that she wanted to pull the off the market so that they can regroup, right? Regroup. So when you work with someone and these strategies are in place, they're there to hold your hand and help you so that you're not there alone. And I will tell you that she literally, it was freaky for her. She freaked out. She was scared. She was nervous, so then it becomes my job to become the pseudo coach. And do that a lot, Nicco, or does that resemble what, going
Yeah,
on
I
with?
mean, yeah, you mean like people going into a sale and not putting their best foot forward right before the
Yeah.
sale? Yeah, I mean, it has to be your strongest year,
Yep.
basically, going into the sale. And
Yes.
so, I think another thing that helps is like bringing a couple, consultants on,
Hmm.
coaches on during that time period is really helpful because they can like guide you through it and keep you focused on running the business
Yep.
while they kind of focus more on, the actual sale and the
Right.
transaction and all that. But secondly, all of those extra costs that you have to incur to pay those consultants, like it doesn't decrease your valuation because those costs are not a continuing cost of operation for the new buyer. And so when the buyer is valuing your business, they remove out
Yep.
any costs that they're not going to have to incur. So it's actually a really good idea to keep people on to help with that.
It is. And I'm going to add to that because if you do have a business coach and they really, like you can see the number when you brought them on and when it spiked, that's also an opportunity because when the new owner takes over, you can say, I partner with so and so, and they help me get there. They can help you as well. And it's very transparent and upfront. You know what I mean? So I really like that. And I think, at the end of the day, I never discourage any of my business owners to get a business coach or, consultant of some sort, because at the end of the day, if you really want to take your business to the next level, just like with anybody, you need the help of someone else that is going to be the outsider looking in, and they will be able to identify those, as we say, the blinders that you wouldn't see, right? You wouldn't see them, and they can, you know.
Yeah, I agree. And so, I mean, bottom line, yes, it's always helpful to have those coaches and consultants. I would also say it's not always going to be the same coach or the same consultant that takes you through every part of your business journey. A lot of times, the people who helped to get you from point A to point B, it's time to let them go when you're ready to get to point. Yes, I agree. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so what are some of the programs? What are some of the things that you guys are doing?
Yeah, so the way that we sort of set up our engagements with clients, our clients really get like three main things
Mm-hmm.
in three steps, let's say. So step one, we do a 90-day business intensive, is what we call it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and during that time period, we are understanding the business owner, understanding what their lifestyle design looks like, what their freedom looks like, what they want in their life. But we're also digging super deep into the business. So, we're doing financial analyses. We're creating a end-to-end process flow of their entire operation. We're doing an HR analysis to understand strengths and weaknesses of the team. We're
Mm-hmm.
even doing some compliance analysis, looking at their contract. Like it's just super deep dive. At the end of that 90 days, we have our second step, which is a 1-day battle plan. And so we take everything that we learned in those 90 days and we present it to our client in this giant packet of information. But then we translate that packet into an actual Gantt chart of, for the next 4 quarters, what are the activities that we need to work on in order to get your business to where you want it to be within a year.
Okay.
Uh, and then the third thing we do is, if the client looks at that plan and says, this looks great, it also looks really complicated, can you guys please help us? Then the third item is unlimited execution support to actually
Okay.
make all that stuff happen.
Okay.
And then, we have a couple bonus items that we add on there. One of the bonus items is, the client has full access to our network. And so that really comes in handy when we discover, hey, it's time for you to get a new marketing agency in here, or hey, you need a new lawyer who can draw up some new partnership contracts, or whatever. We kind of have all those people in our network already, and we can bring them in. And the second bonus item is we provide a software tool that allows the client to screen record and document specific processes that they can then share with the rest of their team to really start to standardize their operation, like we talked about before.
Okay, awesome. So 2 clients. Okay. So how do you guys make sure that when you get a client that it's a good fit? What are you guys doing on your end there?
Yeah, so that's where that 90-day business intensive really comes in
Okay.
handy, because at the end of that, we also have the option to not want to continue with the client.
Okay. So
Um,
you have to make sure it's a good fit on both ends, right?
exactly.
Okay, good.
And usually it is, because usually by the end of the 90 days, we're speaking the same language. We're clear on the type of lifestyle the business owner wants.
Yep.
And we're clear on how to get there. And usually we can help get there. So we sort of propose, hey, here's how we can help. And then we continue to work together. Although I have worked with clients where at the end of the 90 days, it was like, okay, this is not going to work out. Let's go our separate ways.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, they have to be willing to want to, right, facilitate and also do work. I mean, I think if anything I've heard from business coaches is, you can hire someone, but they're not going to do it for you, right? Unless you hire a consulting company to do it for you, which costs more, right? I mean, so again, I think people need to put in perspective that there is no magic bullet. It's not like you hire someone and then they tell you and then it's like a magically happens, right? There's still
Correct.
work involved.
That is correct. Yes, it is still work, definitely.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that's clear because I think sometimes people looking for that magic bullet, the magic, pill or whatever, and will take their business to the next level when there really isn't. It's really hiring the right people to guide you and put you in the right direction and lead you so that you're not wasting your time. You're not wasting your money. You're not wasting your time. And that those efforts do transact into something that is accountability and it plays back. So talking about accountability, how does accountability stay true between you and the client? How does that work?
Um, well, I mean, I think that's where, the metrics and the
The KPIs.
dashboarding.
Yep, that's right. Yep. Yep.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
I mean, we agree on what those are gonna be, and then we report on them regularly, and we're very objective about those. So, we're never trying to sugarcoat anything. It's,
Yep.
we'll even put in our monthly or weekly reviews like, "Hey, this was a bad month. Look at these metrics," you know?
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
I think honesty is key.
Yep.
Um, but, going back to the other point you had about, making sure you have the right people, to
Hmm.
actually execute on these things. I would just add a lot of our engagements, we have a pretty heavy HR component to it
Okay.
because ultimately what we're proposing is, hey, here's how your business becomes a really good business and a really grown up, professional business by doing all of these things.
Yep.
And we're not going to be able to do those things if we don't have the right people in the right seats who are capable of doing those things. So usually business owners we're immediately on the same page, but then as we start to roll out some of the changes, we realize together, hey, we need a new head of ops in here, or we need a new project manager in here, or whatever. And then we go out, we find that person, we bring them in, and so slowly you start to kind of change the internal human resources at the
Yep.
company, and it gets stronger and stronger and stronger.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So I have the website up. How do you want people to connect? You want them to connect with you on LinkedIn? How do they reach out to you? How do they connect?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn would be a great place. I mean, people can also have my email address if you want to share that. Um, and yeah, reach out to me. I love talking with business owners. So if you're a business owner, feel free. Like let's chat. And I don't even care if you're not 2 to 15 million in revenue. I know I said that's our
Yep.
sweet spot
Sweet spot.
for
Yep.
for clients.
Yep.
But I talk to people who are not clients all the time, and I'd be
Yep.
happy to talk to you.
And that's good because, I'm kind of the same way because when I'm doing deals with as a business broker, I'm between 500,000 and 10 million. And a lot of times people will still reach out to me. I tell them if you're under that or you don't even know, reach out and I'm happy to have a conversation and have the dialogue and guide you and let you know what I can help you with and what I can't. And from there on, I don't want people to feel like they don't have an option or don't know, they don't have the ability to talk to someone. Plus, you guys might see the potential, right? When you have a conversation, you could see and let them know that there's a huge potential. I think a lot of times people are so ingrained in their business that they don't see those potentials, whereas someone on the outside looking in, you can see that. Awesome, Nicco. Anything else that you want to add or that I didn't ask you about?
Yeah, I would just say, for anybody who does want to reach out and chat with me, one thing we do offer just totally for free is we have a business benchmarking questionnaire. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you reach out to me, I'll hook you up with the questionnaire. You can fill it in. It's like 35 questions about your business, which then spits out a report of, a lot of those different like drivers that I was talking about and
Yep.
how you can tweak your business and make it stronger. And then I'll also meet with you and chat and review the report with you. And that's all just free. So happy to do it.
Everybody loves free.
That's right.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I am glad that you are able to offer something to everybody. Nicco, thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy day. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I'm sure you did. It was nice and tropical, probably, right?
Exactly. Yep. We did a Spanish version of Thanksgiving where we made a taco tasting menu. So it was great.
Nice, nice. I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Again, I do appreciate your time, Nicco. Thank you.
Thanks, Kat.
And thank you for joining me on my Stand Out and Grow podcast. I hope that this was very informative. I hope that you do connect with Nicco and reach out to him. Check out the website of the company that he is with. And if you have any questions, definitely drop a comment in the comments because he is tagged on this podcast and he would love to help you out if he can. So until next time, you got this.